Hi friends! So I've decided to participate in Mermay this year. I actually found a new prompt list on the Drawfee Discord. So I decided to follow the first two prompts, which were ice and lost. So initially I started to do some thumbnails and kind of created a final sketch. I'm going to switch over to my iPad. Open Procreate.
Import my sketch and fit it to the 11 by 17 inch canvas.
And so I've inserted it on its own layer. I'm just going to change the opacity down a bit because I just want to use it as a reference. And then I'll be drawing on the layer above. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to pull it all underneath. And I'm going to group all these layers together. And just call that my line work. Okay, so now I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to pull that under my line work. And we're going to call this base color. So now what I'm going to do is try and pick a limited color palette. The reason why you want a limited color palette is so you don't have too many colors overwhelming the entire illustration. What I'm going to do is also create a layer for the background, create one for the mermaid, and I also want to create one for the icebergs. So right now I'm just going to kind of block in my color. I'll continue to use the studio pen. Okay, now we have got everything blocked in, which means now I can start laying in my shadows and picking out other values that are based on my color palette. This gray seemed a little too dull. I actually went in and made another layer of the sketch
And turned the line work into a dark blue. That is just a darker shade of the navy blue. I didn't end up using any of the additional blues on the left.
So the brushes that I used kind of toggled between the script and the studio. When I was painting, I did use the dry ink brush, and when I was trying to create more texture on the iceberg, I used the Salamanca brush. I added this lighter vignette to really pull the eye, so you kind of read it to see the dark and pulls into this light. When I looked at references of icebergs, a lot of them were actually surprisingly underlit, but I guess that makes sense if you have light shining above and it's going through. And what I ended up doing was changing back some of the blue outline to the pencil so you could see where the light was hitting. So I did that along in different features of her face and body, throughout her tail. I feel like this helped create more depth and interesting lighting. The highlights not just to the base color itself, but also to the line work. That is my finalized illustration. I just named the piece Lost Ice, and it just made me think of global warming and how all of the glaciers are melting down and how much that affects the environment And the mermaid is acting as a metaphor for all of the ocean life, everything that depends on these ecosystems, which have slowly been disappearing, especially in the last 100 years. If you look at photos from 100 years ago, the Arctic looks completely different. And this is the narrative that I wrote to go with this piece. I awoke after 100 years slumber, to find my home is not what it once was. Beautiful ice palaces of Berg are now dwindling down to nothing. I feel lost in my bewilderment of what the humans have done. Where has all the ice gone? And with that, I'd like to close off this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I am hoping to have prints of this up in my shop soon, if not by the time this video goes out, so you can check it out at noellefontainedesign.com. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to follow me on my art adventure. I'd love to see your interpretation of the prompts. You can use either lost or ice or combine them like I did here. If you do, please just tag me in your artwork. I would love to see what you created. I hope that this video has helped inspire you to create something. And remember, the adventure awaits, so let's create!